Let's go! Yes! This took 50 to 100 attempts. Let's go! Let's go! Welcome back everyone to our Final Fantasy X Nosphere Grid guide. Today we're tackling the almighty Seymour Flux, and what a challenge this was. Flux is arguably the toughest fight in Nosphere Grid with these restrictions.
Zanarkand is on the other side, you know?
I know.
Uni is gonna get the final Aeon, you know?
I know.
I still haven't thought of anything.
Me neither.
What are we gonna do?
We'll do something. We just don't know enough yet. Until we do, we really can't help Yuna. Let's go to Zanarkand. We'll find something there. It'll all come together. I know it.
Hey. Just now, you sounded like a leader, you know?
Star of the Zanarkand Abes. Didn't anyone tell you?
Aha! Huh?
Ah, the son of Jack.
Rikku, run ahead and tell Auron.
You are not fighting him alone!
Just go, go!
Now is your time to die. Prepare yourself, son of Jack.
Not if I can help it!
Save some for Kimahri!
Lady Yuna, it is a pleasure.
Yuna.
Ascending so soon? Allow me to say something to the last Ronso before I leave. Yours was truly a gallant race. They threw themselves at me to bar my path, one after another.
No.
Kimahri.
You could end the suffering of this poor Ronso.
I don't understand you.
Allow Kimahri to die and release him from his pain. Spira is a land of suffering and sorrow caught in a spiral of death. To destroy, to heal Spira, I will become sin. Yes, with your help. Come with me, Yuna. Once I have become the next sin, your father will be freed again.
What do you know?
Pitiful mortal.
Your hope ends here! And your meaningless existence with it!
Right, we start off with Tidus in first strike, and the main prerogative is to get Rikku in straight away in order to get that haste on. Now, because Auron and Yuna have got zombie ward, the strategy here is to try and get all three of these characters to survive cross cleave, because if you're trying to survive total annihilation under Nosphere Grid rules and with a bunch of other restrictions, it's luck based, it's RNG based, so the best thing to do is to try and take Seymour out before you face total annihilation. So bring Rikku straight in and get off a Chocobo wing. This is why we captured all of those fiends in the Thunder Plains, but you probably should have one or two by now, having been in Beacon Out Island. And the reason I brought Tidus back in was because if he dies, what I found was he would be quicker than Kimahri in recovery. So he dies, it's not the worst outcome, but ideally what you want is for all 3 characters to survive that first and the second Lance of Atrophy. So Rikku comes in with a silence grenade. That's going to prevent Dispel. And then it's about managing the turns as best as possible, setting up Rikku, Yuna and Auron in order to survive cross cleave. Now that's with haste, protect and defend. And you've also got to have silence on Flux, and you've also got to have Poison Fang or some sort of poison on Flux as well. Now this is to ensure you get free damage and he can't do Dispel, but also he can't move into his Reflect and Flare phase as well. Now Tidus dying there wasn't the worst outcome. I'm just putting the Poison Fang on here. Again, it's really about managing the turns and setting up the characters. I think at some point I do use a Mega Vitality, and that's to get all 3 characters into double health. It's about trying to chance these Lance of Atrophies though, and trying to manage when you've got a free turn. So this round right here, we've actually got a free turn, so we can afford for Rikku to stay in the front line and either get a light curtain off, or double the health of the characters, or just try and help the others survive the next round. And that's because we've got Seymour having just used Lance of Atrophy, but he didn't use full life, so we've technically got a free turn here, and because he's under silence he doesn't get an attack in. So Auron and Yuna can just defend or just swap weapons just to manage their turns a bit better and get their health back together, but essentially it offers Rikku a chance to go on more of the offensive in the next round. So Auron here just getting himself back to full health because he hasn't at this point got a light curtain on. Now Auron can survive cross cleave without a light curtain. The trouble is the aftermath, because if the other characters don't survive, then all of the following attacks, like the following Lance of Atrophy, will hit Auron, and that's not good. So here Rikku stays in and is able to use some of them turns to buff up Yuna. Now this is where I use the Mega Vitality, so mixing the last stamina tablet I've got with an Albed potion, that gives all the characters double health and allows us with defend and protect to survive a cross cleave. So Yuna's going to defend here because again we've got another free turn. Auron and Yuna are going to either swap weapons and just manage their turns and basically defend here, and then it's all down to Rikku to try and protect herself as much as possible. So at this point we've got Rikku with double health, and we've also got Yuna with double health and defend and protect as well. So the first cross cleave comes in. Oh no, I think it's Rikku that had the protect here. So there we go. That's probably the semi-best outcome of cross cleave, which is no one's getting zombified from the Lance of Atrophy and only Yuna being killed there. Maybe if she had I would rather Rikku and Auron survive than Rikku and Yuna, or Auron and Yuna as well. I think Rikku and Auron surviving is the best of the bad bunch here. But because we've got so many turns, because Riku's got 2 turns here, it just offers us the chance to heal up and make the most of the next few turns, because we're not likely to see cross cleave now for another, I think it's 2 or 3 turns. So what we can do is put some damage on the board as well, make sure Seymour stays in silence as well so we don't get that reflect and flare phase. But here I hesitated because I didn't know how to manage the turn, so I was wondering, is it worth Phoenix downing Yuna, or is it worth healing this party? Because arguably now Yuna is just going to help us recuperate those overdrives, because I think all of the characters apart from Yuna are in Comrade. So I thought, I've got no more stamina tablets, I'm just going to use Yuna as the whipping. But also, with Defend, Yuna can still survive a Lance of Atrophy, and the chances are she won't be getting zombied. So even if we changed weapons with Rikku, we wouldn't have got a favourable turn there to have Auron revive Yuna. And I was thinking to myself, do I Light Curtain? Do I revive Yuna and Light Curtain? But I ended up reviving Yuna and then going for some damage, I think, here with on the offensive with some of the shining gems. Now I didn't particularly want to use the shining gems, or did I go with the chocobo feather? Oh, that's right, I went for the Light Curtain on Yuna, and that's because, like I said, she can survive a Lance of Atrophy. Auron's going to max us all in health, which enables us to survive the next turn. Now, I probably should have gone for a silence grenade there and not a shining gem, because that would have kept Flux in a silent state and not been able to put Protect on. Nonetheless, the characters are in a decent position going into the full life round, and this allows us to put silence on and just keep Flux in check, really. It's a free round, so we've got some time to recover Yuna and get everyone else back into a defensive stance. Although I don't think it's this turn that we see cross cleave, I think it's the next turn. So there, Auron just bringing Yuna back up to full health again. And Rikku going on the offensive, partly because she's got a free turn, but partly because I do believe this is another Lance of Atrophy round. And I just wanted to check that everyone was not zombied there. So everyone can survive a Lance of Atrophy. That must have been a free turn then. So here we prepare basically for another cross cleave. I know Yuna's not going to survive, but I also know that Rikku and Auron are likely to survive as well, depending on how the Lance of Atrophy goes. We'll see that in a moment. So everyone's in a defensive stance. Auron and Rikku will survive. But what we see is Lance of Atrophy take Rikku out, which isn't... It's not the best scenario, but because Auron survived the Lance of Atrophy and the cross cleave and wasn't zombied, it allows us to use a Mega Phoenix. Now at this point you should still have 1 or 2 Mega Phoenixes. Yuna dying there is not the worst thing that could happen, because we've got a full life round. So no one is zombified, which gives us a free turn, which is excellent. And Rikku has a turn coming up. Now we use Auron to get our health back. Now of course Rikku and Yuna don't have double health, so they can't survive another cross cleave. But I do believe we're not going to see another one. So it's just about maximising the damage now per round in order to get Seymour into the total annihilation phase, but we're going to deal enough damage before he uses total annihilation. Now I did debate putting a Light Curtain on Yuna again, but I also recognise that we're either in the total annihilation phase, cometh Seymour's turn, or we now will go straight into the total annihilation phase. So there's that auto attack mode, and we've got, I think it's 2 free turns now to do as much damage as possible. And basically it's about keeping Auron and Yuna to maximise their turns in order to either swap in and out other characters if we need to use maybe Kimahri's overdrive or Tidus's overdrive, etc. But it's just about managing the damage and maximising the damage you can do with Rikku here with the Shining Gems. Again, doing this in no sphere grid without Shining Gems is rather difficult. If you've not put any customization restrictions on, you can bring in a setup that allows you to just use fire gems, but using Shining Gems is probably the best bet here. So Auron and Yuna are just maximising their turns, Rikku's maximising the damage with the Shining Gems, and here I was thinking we're actually only 1 turn away. I think at this point we're arguably either a Rikku overdrive away or a Kimahri overdrive using self-destruct and potentially a Shining Gem, or a Rikku mix, maybe like a Tall Boy or a Calamity Bomb, to get enough damage over the line. So I was thinking here, what's the best route? Now if I had a Dark Matter, this would be an ideal situation to use one, but I didn't want to use a Sunburst because you might not have the 3 stars at this point, although it is possible to get them from the Chocobo race. Equally, I thought if I used a Shining Gem and used a self-destruct with Kimahri, I probably might not get the high damage that I needed from, it would probably be an RNG roll on the Shining Gem, because I know Kimahri is going to do 2,100 damage, but that leaves us just shy of 6,000, and Shining Gems can do anything from 5,600 I think to just to 6,000, so I'd be taking a risk there. So I thought it's best to bring in Kimahri and self-destruct for the guaranteed 2,100. So that's self-destruct coming in absolute clutch here. Guaranteed 2,100 damage. Now I would need a guaranteed high roll with the Shining Gem to guarantee the win here this turn, or I could inflict some extra damage with one of the lads, like Auron doing an attack even though Seymour's got protect, or using maybe a slice and dice or one of Auron's overdrives. I didn't want to chance an overdrive though, just in case, and that's why I just went for the regular attack here. Now at this point I've got Rikku in for Yuna, and I'm thinking I need a mixed list, quick. I need to find out what the best thing is with the items I've got. So checked online. I probably should have done some prior research. Not really familiar with some of the Rikku mixes, but eventually decided that it was probably best just to go with the double Shining Gem. That gives us a Tall Boy. That gives us about 8,800 to about 9,200 damage to all enemies, which is perfect in this situation. And arguably I probably wouldn't even have needed to have used self-destruct or Auron's attack there. I could have done this straight away on Rikku's turn. Could I have managed turns better previously in order for me to not end this on an overdrive? Maybe. But nonetheless, we went with the Tall Boy and got the win. Let's go. You'll hear my reaction shortly. Let's go! Yes! This took 50 to 100 attempts. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Yes! I cannot believe how well.
And stay up there!
Yes! Oh man, I cannot believe how well that went. That was the best attempt I have had in so long for Flux. I am buzzing. Yes! You do not believe how many attempts I have taken to do that.
He will become sin with my help.
Lies. Forget them.
If he becomes sin, Sir Jecht will be saved.
We're leaving.
You know something, tell me! Tell me.
Sin's my old man.
You hit your head?
Sin is my old man. My old man became Sin. I don't know how or why he did it. I felt him inside. And when I did, I knew it was true. My old man's spirit is suffering. Sorry.
Even knowing that Sin is your father, still, you know I must.
I know. Let's get him. I think my old man would want that.
You'd fight your own father?
Yeah, no problem there.
About your old man. You sure this ain't some kind of bad toxin dream or something? Then, Chapu. I think I'll just pretend I didn't hear nothing. I'm getting a little confused, yeah? Why'd all this have to happen?
We'll learn when we arrive. Soon.